I just finished watching Sonic Movie 3, so if you care about spoilers, make sure to save this video and watch the movie and come back later. Spoiler alert, you've been warned. So as you may know by now, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 is already deep in development by now, and you're probably wondering what's going to happen in it. First of all, a lot of people are worried about this scene specifically where a lot of Metal Sonic clones showed up to jump Sonic. And yeah, they came to scrap, but ended up getting scrapped by Amy Rose's hammer getting one-shotted. But when I was looking closely at the trailer, I noticed that this Metal Sonic is more bluer and the other ones are more grayer. And if you look closely and slow the scene down, you'll notice that the blue one doesn't get smashed by Amy. Pause! So do I think Metal Sonic is coming back? Yes, the fight's not even over. If anything, knowing Metal Sonic, he probably showed up to see how strong Sonic was and ended up leaving, downloading Amy and his biodata. And if Jim Carrey doesn't decide to come back as Eggman, remember that Neo Metal Sonic does have Eggman's biodata. Also remember, Shadow within the movie wasn't created by Gerald Robotnik, he actually landed on Earth from a meteor. My guess is this is a foreshadowing of Doom's arrival, who is said by Takashi Iizuka, who is one of the Sonic creators, to be Shadow's Eggman. Shadow is obviously an alien and he probably has Doom DNA within inside of him and probably was sent to Earth to conquer it. Because that's what the Doom alien race does, they just go over conquering galaxies after galaxy. And it was leaked that Sega wanted to do a Shadow solo film or show. Now here's the part everybody and their mother's probably wondering, how will Sega and Paramount introduce Silver to the live action movies? Now here's the problem, fans like me and a lot of others have noticed that Sega doesn't really know what to do with Silver's characters, especially with inside the games. If you really think about it, he doesn't really have a good backstory, hear me out. Yes, we know that the future timeline was taken over and in destruction, but we don't really know his actual backstory. We don't see his parents. We don't see why these gadgets are a thing on him, why he has his whole powers and where he's gotten them from. And what's even more complicated about Silver is that he's not even more popular than characters like Shadow, Sonic, Amy, and even Knuckles. Not even the Chows. And this is all because not only did his character originate in one of the worst received Sonic games, Sonic 06, the movie developers don't really have that much to go off of in terms of his story within the games. On top of that, Iblis was the one that was destroying the future, and in the Knuckles show, it's revealed that he already took him out. So now, not only are the fans, but Sega and Paramount are in a predicament, and there's only two ways they could really go about this. So first, they can do something similar to how Dragon Ball did, where the androids, aka Metal Sonic, has taken over the future. And obviously Silver blames Sonic for this because that's his clone and goes back in time to destroy Sonic. Second, Iblis does have immortality, so there is and could be a chance that Iblis does come back as a reincarnated version of himself because he does have immortality, so he does come back, and he blames Knuckles and comes back to the future to defeat Knuckles, calling him the Iblis Trigger. But here's a third option that I personally would pitch to Paramount to do for Silver, and that is a show on Netflix or Paramount. In this show, it could take place thousands of years in the future, showing off Silver's background and everything about him and how he's gotten his powers. And while we're learning more about Silver, out of nowhere a villain comes. And no, it's not Iblis, because it does seem like it's a trope for the next character to be stronger than the past. And I really don't see Paramount bringing back Iblis as a villain, as Knuckles took him on by himself. So shouldn't Silver be strong enough to take him on by himself? So why not just up the stakes by adding Iblis, but also Mephiles as well as another villain? You see this ugly beast right here, this terrifying thing with red eyes? This is a divine being called Solaris. And it can split itself into two beings, it's just that powerful. With one half being Iblis, who is the raw power, the destructive side of Solaris, while Mephiles is the consciousness, the brain, the calculated side basically of Solaris. And of course, when those two fuse, we get this, Solaris. Now the thing about Mephiles in both halves of Solaris is that they have immortality, so they need to be sealed to be fully put down as a villain. And Mephiles, aka Solaris, has a problem. He knows that these three, Shadow, Sonic, and Silver, are going to contest him and defeat him and somewhat try to take him and erase him off the timeline in the future. And him keep coming back and keep getting defeated by these three in the past, future, and present, it won't give him what he wants. He wants to eat. He wants to destroy the timeline and eat it for breakfast. That's all he cares about. He's like a god of destruction. So what does his brain, Mephiles, think of? How about we turn the hedgehogs against each other? Let's trick Silver into thinking that The reason why Iblis is out here destroying everything is because of Sonic, or Shadow, or even Knuckles. You have to destroy them all, Silver, or this is just gonna keep getting worse. And of course, Silver hears this and says, I gotta do what a hedgehog's gotta do. And that's how I would introduce Silver, and they have to do it right this time because in the games, like I said, the people did not like it. They weren't messing with it. So again, they could go the Android route where Sonic's the reason why Metal Sonics have taken over the whole future. They could go the Iblis route where just Knuckles has triggered Iblis to just destroy the future after defeating him in the past. Or they could do both, introducing Iblis and Mephiles and then Solaris in the end. And last thing I want to say is Silver doesn't even have to be from the future. He could be from another dimension because like Eggman said when he got the power of the Master Emerald is that he said, I could take over the whole multiverse with this power. That's verbatim what he says in Sonic 2. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that Metal Sonic should be the next movie villain or TV villain, or who do you think should get a show? Love you guys. Peace.